Hey everyone, we're going to dive into something that might just shake up what you think you know about retirement. We're looking at a pretty bold argument that says the IRA, that thing we're all told we're supposed to have, might not be the golden ticket we think it is. So, let's get right into it.
All right, let's just start with the big one, the question that I think keeps a lot of us up at night. It's really the number one fear for retirees in America. Are you going to outlive your money? And according to the source we're breaking down today, this isn't some far-off what if. It's a very, very real problem for a whole lot of people.
And here's the number that just stops you in your tracks. The source we're looking at claims that for the average person with an IRA or a 401k, their money is completely gone in just 11 years. Yeah, 11. So how on earth does that happen? What's causing people to fall off this financial cliff?
So, the argument boils it down to three main culprits. You've got taxes, inflation, and the roller coaster of market volatility. Now, all three of those are huge, for sure, but for what we're talking about today, we are going to focus on the one that the source says is the biggest and maybe the most overlooked problem of them all: taxes. And that brings us right to the heart of this whole thing, something the source calls the tax deferral trap. You know how the main selling point of an IRA is that you get to put off paying taxes? Well, this argument flips that completely on its head and says that's actually the biggest problem. The easiest way to get your head around this is with a pretty simple story. Okay, so picture this. You're a farmer. It's springtime. You buy some seed, and hey, you get a nice little tax break on the cost of that seed. That's kind of like your IRA contribution. So, all summer long, your crops grow and grow, right? That's your money growing, tax deferred. But, and this is the big but, when fall comes and it's time to harvest, the tax man doesn't just ask for a piece of what you spent on the seed. No way. He wants a piece of the entire harvest. And that's the whole idea here. You end up paying taxes on everything, the seed and all the growth, right when you need the money the most. For years and years, we've all heard the same thing. Oh, just defer your taxes, because you'll be in a lower tax bracket when you retire. And you know what? Back in the 70s, maybe the 80s, that was probably true for a lot of people. But the argument here is that that's just not a safe bet anymore. And a big reason why has to do with deductions. Okay, think about your life right now. You probably have a ton of tax deductions, right? There's mortgage interest, the money you're putting into that 401k, maybe you have some business write-offs, or you're still deducting your kids. But fast forward to retirement. What happens? Well, the house is probably paid off, the kids are grown, you're not contributing to your IRA anymore. All those deductions, poof, they're gone. So your taxable income could actually be higher in retirement, which is crazy to think about. The source has a great way of putting it. It's like you've got one foot on the gas pedal, trying to save, but your other foot is slamming the brakes because all your deductions are disappearing.
So this leads to, well, it's kind of the million-dollar question, isn't it? And forget about your own situation for a sec. Just think bigger picture about the country. Do you really believe that tax rates in the future are going to be higher, lower, or about the same as they are right now? The source we're looking at says that whenever they ask a live audience this question, pretty much every single hand in the room shoots up for higher.
Okay, so let's put two and two together here. If you think your retirement account is going to get bigger over the next 20 or 30 years, and you think taxes are going to be higher in the future, then who is really winning when you decide to pay your taxes later? The argument is pretty blunt. It says the IRA becomes, and this is a direct quote, the best savings bond the government ever came up with for themselves. Wow, that really flips the whole idea of what an IRA is for on its head, doesn't it?
And this idea leads into another really powerful way of looking at it. The source asks us to stop thinking about your IRA as just your account. Instead, think of it like you've gone into business with a partner, and that partner is Uncle Sam. The only problem is the terms of this partnership are, let's just say they're a little one-sided.
I mean, just look at this deal. In any normal partnership, right, both partners share the risk. But in this deal, nope. You put up all the cash, you take all the risk if the market tanks. Your partner, Uncle Sam, he takes zero risk. Okay, what about the profits? A good partner agrees on a percentage up front, but not this partner. He can decide to change his cut, the tax rate, whenever he wants, and you don't get a say. And the kicker? This partner can actually slap you with penalties if you want to get your own money out too early or even too late. I mean, seriously, would you ever in a million years sign up for a business deal like that with anyone else?
Okay, so after basically tearing down the whole idea of these traditional retirement accounts, the source then shifts gears. It moves from talking about the problem to laying out what it sees as a solution, an alternative way to save that supposedly gets around all these traps. Now, this alternative has a pretty flashy name. The source calls it an IUL laser fund. And just to be clear, that's their own trademark term. So what is it really? Well, what they're talking about is a very specific kind of financial product, an indexed universal life insurance policy. But it's structured in a certain way, max funded, so that it's being used less for the insurance part and more as a way to save for retirement.
So how is this thing supposed to be any different? Well, the source points to a few key features. First, and this is the big one, the income you take from it in retirement is supposed to be tax-free. So that whole tax deferral trap, gone. What about the market going down? It claims you can't lose money when the market drops. And remember that partnership with all the strict rules? Well, with this, there are supposedly no government limits on how much you can put in, and when you pass away, the money can go to your family, again, tax-free.
All right, so this all builds up to the main event, the big finale of the argument. It's a head-to-head, side-by-side showdown. The source calls it a tale of two millions. The idea is to show what happens to two identical million-dollar retirement accounts, but using these two totally different strategies.
Okay, let's break this down, because this is really the whole point. Here's the setup. You've retired with $1 million. Your goal is to live on $100,000 a year after taxes. Now, let's look at the traditional IRA side first. To actually put $100,000 in your pocket, you might have to pull out $150,000, because $50,000 of it goes right to Uncle Sam for taxes. You do that every year, and that $1 million you worked so hard for, it's gone in 11 years. Now, let's look at the other column, the IUL laser fund. You need $100,000, you take out $100,000. How much do you pay in taxes? Zero. And the claim here is that your original $1 million principal, it just sits there, untouched. I mean, you can see it right there. It is a wildly different result.
So what does this all add up to over, say, a 20-year retirement? Well, according to the math in this source, the difference is just huge. In one case, you're broke. In the other, you've taken out $2 million of tax-free income, and you still have your original million sitting there. So when you add it all up, the conclusion they present is that this alternative approach isn't just a little better, it's $3 million better. And that leaves us with one last pretty big question to think about. Is your retirement plan built on a promise? A hope, really. A hope that your taxes will be lower down the road. Or is it built on what this argument calls a really bad one-sided partnership? It's definitely a powerful argument that goes against pretty much everything we've been told. Thanks for digging into this with us.